What's happening, y'all? Cars and Culture. It's your boy T. Today we got the 2017 Subaru WRX. Let's check it out. Alright, so here we have the 2017 Subaru WRX. This is the limited trim. So there's the base, premium, and limited trim. A few of the things that are different. It has the black housing headlights. You can kind of see on the edges here. They typically have the 18-inch wheel, but these are the base 17-inch wheels. What else? It has the black fog light bezels right here. Of course, it's mostly a few things on the inside as far as leather, an optional upgraded Harman Kardon sound system, and a few other things like lane keep assist, blind spot monitoring, stuff like that. But let's get more into the car itself. Alright, so as far as the 2017 WRX, it's pretty much remains unchanged. They started the main change of the now FA engine starting in 2015. It's still current up to the 2020 model. No longer the boxer rumble on the WRX. However, the WRX STI still has the now nearly 10-year-old EJ motor, which is the flat 4 boxer engine. So this is the FA motor. This is the 2-liter 4-cylinder turbo, 268 horsepower, 258 foot-pounds of torque. Still gets pretty decent gas mileage, 20 city, 27 highway. This will do 0 to 60 in 5.4 seconds. If you're able to launch it with the 6-speed manual, you could get that a bit closer to 5 seconds, but you'll be causing some damage to your clutch depending on how many times you're going to do that. Now, one of the main things about the WRX is the aftermarket support. Most, car enthusiasts are gonna first get the Cobb access port, which is a handheld device. You hook it up to the OBD sensor, and you can basically install a factory tune, what's called a over-the-shelf or off-the-shelf tune, OTS. Which some manufacturers have better tunes than others, but you're gonna need a lot of parts. You see this top mount intercooler. They have, of course, upgraded intercoolers. One of the main things are going to be down pipes, which is now known as the J pipe. Of course, catback exhaust. When you combine it all, turbo back exhaust, giving you much more free-flowing exhaust, which is ultimately going to give you more horsepower. But anything that you tune on here, or anything that you change on here, you have to have a tune for. So it is a pretty sensitive engine, but it does respond pretty well to aftermarket parts. Alright, so now let's hop inside and check out the interior. So the WRX has a pretty nice interior. Once again, this is a limited trim, so compared to previous years, it does have the touchscreen infotainment system, a little bit of some carbon fiber trim there, simulated carbon fiber trim, and this particular one has an aftermarket shift knob, weighted shift knob. But it does come with a 6-speed manual on both the WRX and STI models, as well as you can see the aluminum foot pedals there as well. Alright, so now let's go ahead and start her up. It has a pretty cool starting sequence you'll see here. Give her a couple revs. Not too much sound, but of course nothing an aftermarket exhaust can't fix. So you'll see the interior is pretty clean. I like the steering wheel. Has the red stitching on there and a few steering wheel mounted controls. You have the 6-speed manual transmission offered on both models. This one has an aftermarket weighted shift knob, and then a few other tidbits here and there. What else? We got this cool screen here. You can adjust. Actually, right now shows a boost gauge. So as I rev it there, you can kind of see the boost climb there. Has a carbon fiber look trim. Definitely not real carbon fiber. And of course, the leather seats, pretty decent. Seats 5, has the sunroof there. So overall, not too bad. And then of course, the home link system, so you could at least program your garage. So overall, it's a decent car, not bad for the price and the performance it offers, and still somewhat economical. Alright, so there you have it. It's getting a little bit late out here. The lighting is getting a little interesting. But trying to give you a little bit better content. First video was all shot on the iPhone 10. I've stepped it up now. I got a Canon M50, a little bit of a tripod, Joby 1K, a Rode mic. I hope the content is a little bit better, sounds a little bit better, still working on it. Yeah, and this is the WRX. So we'll take it for a spin, see how it drives, and go from there. Alright, so here we go. We're rolling in the WRX. This particular one does have a few things done to the shifter. The factory shifter, in my opinion, is terrible. There's a lot of play in the shifter. It doesn't shift positively. So this one has the parent shift stopper, shift stop and bushing. So it does help the overall feel of the shifter. Now the STI transmission, which is completely different, and I mean night and day different, that I can see why the STI costs a bit more. It's just a much better, far superior transmission. Yeah, my initial driving impressions, it's a cool car. Alright, so my initial impressions, it's a cool car. For the difference between the WRX and the STI, this is more for the car enthusiast that still wants to be a little more economical. It's a lot better on gas. The STI city is 17 city, 23 highway. It's right around there. Where once again, this one you got 21 city, 28 highway around that area. So something to consider as far as a daily driver. I personally miss the Boxer Rumble. I was like, it's just like one of those trademark, Subaru sport sounds. It's kind of like the Japanese muscle car sound. Very unique sound. This one, unfortunately, doesn't have it. But either way, factory exhaust, you're not gonna hear that to begin with. Some things to note about how the turbo spools up in this car compared to the previous WRX. It's tuned differently in a way where it's really aggressive from like 2,000 to 5,000 RPM, and then it just kind of falls flat. So it's almost like it simulates more power than what it actually has. Whereas when you get what I've experienced, considered stage 2, which is pretty much tune, turbo back exhaust, and pick your brand intake, which intake in itself isn't really necessary, more for the sound. The RPMs pull pretty strong all the way to redline, which in this case is right under 7,000 RPM, about 6,800. So I do like the nature of stage 2 or full bolt-on or E85. That's when this particular platform can get really fun. So some other things to point out: the suspension. I guess I just have to keep comparing this to the STI. Also, as I've owned a Evo 10 MR myself, so I have some background with the rivalry between, you know, STIs and Evos. The suspension is, oh, you can see there, it's pretty harsh. It has a good amount of body roll, kind of crashes on bumps. The STI, 2015 and up STIs, it's a lot firmer but more composed over bumps. And it could be, you know, of course there's various reasons. It even has a, you know, a better all-wheel drive system as well, since you could control some of the power to be split or more front or rear bias. That's going to help with your launches a lot. But there's always going to be people that argue, you know, with the difference you would spend on an STI, you can put that into a WRX and make it faster and blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, none of the WRXs are going to sound like the STI. And I know that's not everything to some people, but when you really enjoy cars, a big factor is how it sounds. And let's see me try to give it some gas. Yeah, it's pretty good. You can kind of hear the turbo spool even from the factory, which is decent. But I don't know, it's just the way the torque curve is built with this factory tune. It's just, I guess if I've never experienced, you know, stage 2 or any more aftermarket parts, it'd be a lot different, but now going back, it's a huge difference. So my final thoughts on this car, I like it. I think you can't help but compare it to the STI. So it depends on what you're going for. If you're a little bit more hardcore car enthusiast, I would say go for the STI. Out of the box, just based on the transmission alone, that transmission can hold up to more power better. And then of course, yeah, it has the really old EJ motor, but it just sounds so good. Even if the unequal length headers makes it less efficient and not as much power, it sounds so damn good. And you know, I've heard a few different exhaust setups on the WRX. You know, it's alright. It's kind of like, you know, not to get too off topic, but the newer F80 M3s with, I believe the engine is the S55 now. The new M3s look amazing, but they just, the sound is not that good. Don't know how else to say it. It just doesn't sound that good. Of course, I'm mentioning that as a previous owner of an F80 M3 with the M Performance exhaust, and it was, you know, it's just really raspy. It sounds like, you know, a modern day Honda Civic from back in the day when, you know, everyone was doing the engine swaps and all that type of stuff. So, wow, that was a long tangent, but back on topic, the WRX it's cool. It's good all around because it's good on gas, decent performance, somewhat fun, decent handling. It's practical, seats 5. It looks good. It could use, in my opinion, a bit wider tires, wider wheels, but you know, I guess they hold that for the STI. You know what I really want to say while I'm at this light is to the WRX owners, please stop putting STI wings on your WRX. You know, it looks good, I guess, but it's just kind of, it's just weird to me, you know? Be proud of your WRX, how it came, and, you know, make it look like a unique WRX. I just feel like you're trying to make your WRX look like an STI, and, you know, the STI is STI, the WRX is WRX. Just try to not mix those two up. It's just my opinion, though. I'm sure you're gonna hate me for saying that. And if you have one, You know who you are. You know what I see it as? I see it as those people that have a BMW 328 or a 335, and then they put an M next to it. It's just like, yo, man, that's weird. It's, and I know it's getting more confusing nowadays with M Sport package and now these mid, M cars. There's the M Sport, the 340i M Sport, which is like in between, and they're pretty good performers, but it's still not a true M. Just like Mercedes and the AMG, they have their 43s instead of the 63s, so it's like in between. And then of course Audi. I guess what would Audis be? Is it their S series? Because their RS are the top dogs. So yeah, just let your car be its car, whatever it is. It starts to come off, in my opinion, once again, as a poser, and you're not too excited about what your car is, right out the box. So that's all I'm gonna say about that, and until next time, Cars and Culture signing off.